Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-show. We are setting things up here as we normally do. Doing a mic check. If you guys can hear us in the Discord chat room, please let us know. If there's any audio problems, we'll hopefully be able to alleviate them.
So the YouTube chat is disabled, correct? Like nobody can comment on it at all?
That's correct. We have disabled the YouTube live chat. Comments will be available after the show. But right now, we are streaming live, and we have our whole Wirecast set up for the Discord chat room. So if you take a look over there next to Pedro, we have the live broadcast chat room. And if you are wondering what Discord is and where the link is, we actually have a link right above the chat room. It says discord.gg/Adafruit. Oh no. Bit of a hassle to manage two devices, I guess, yeah. Hey Kirby, let us know if there's anything we can do to kind of make it a little bit easier.
I did see somebody in the chat saying that they are using, unfortunately on an Android though, you're able to use a split screen to watch the video on one side and have the Discord app on the other side. For iOS, I guess you'd have to be on your iPad running iOS 11.
Because you can't
split screen it,
yeah, you do need two apps to do this, as you have YouTube, and then how do I chat if I'm watching YouTube on my device? Yeah, I had to do that.
Yeah, I don't think they...
Yeah, this is a test. Maybe we won't do this moving forward, but hey, we're giving Discord a chance here. Let me look at different shots.
I wonder if you jailbreak your phone, you're able to do the split screen on a 7 Plus.
Yeah. Hey, Galactic 3D's in the house. Sigafus.
Hello, hello.
Kirby, of course, is hanging out.
Oh, wow, this looks really good.
What's
this 360 photo? I wish I took it earlier and I have like no time to post it.
Oh.
To post it after the show.
Awesome. This is working out. Yeah.
Testing out using a polarizer.
Oh, that's an interesting idea, Sigafos. I don't know if you say your username right.
The bot to cross-post the comments to Discord.
That'd be interesting. We'll ask we'll ask Scott and see if that's possible. Here's a cool thing. If you type in !show times, I believe, you get a nice list of when all the shows display. Now, there's a little bit of a weird
oh, we need to add John Parks on there as well. He does Friday, I believe, at noon Eastern Standard Time.
Is that his...
I believe so.
His time slot now?
That's what it's been for the past 3 weeks, I believe.
Cool, man. All right, well, it's 11 a.m. I guess we're ready to start the show.
Let's start it.
All right. Let me turn this necklace on. There we go. Got my chic on. All right, guys, we're going to start the show proper here. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. I'm Noe Pedro Ruiz, a designer here at Adafruit, and joining me every week is my Sheikah brother.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printing projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right, this is a show where we combine 3D printing, DIY electronics to make inspirational Sheikah technology. Welcome, everybody, in the chat room. If you're wondering, we are using Discord chat exclusively. We've been experimenting a lot with Discord, and we're really big fans of it. So if you want to join the chat, you have to go to discord.gg/Adafruit. So if you look right above the chat window up there, you can see there's a link to Discord. It's discord.gg/Adafruit. So check that out. This week's coupon code is GEMMA Jewel. We used the GEMMA M0 and a NeoPixel Jewel to make this interesting piece of Sheikah technology here.
That's right. It was released. The GEMMA M0 was released about 2 weeks ago, and
last week.
Oh,
yeah, time flies.
I think that's when we got it.
I had a week to make this, and I was scrabbling around to come up with something.
So expect a lot of new GEMMA M0 projects.
Yeah, it's very nice, bite-sized wearable, Circuit Python, already pre-installed. NeoPixel library, timing libraries are already on the chip. This is really, really awesome.
We are living in the future.
I literally plugged it in, and I was able to write some really simple NeoPixel code, which take a look at in a little bit. We'll have a little bit of an interesting demo there. So if you do want to pick up a NeoPixel, or set up your email notifications to know when the GEMMA M0 is back in stock, because you guys bought them really, really quick, and we're rushing to make more of them. So you want to sign up for that. Okay, what else do we have here? Well, we have some freebie stuff for folks in the US. If you have a purchase that's over $200 or more, you can get free ground shipping from UPS. Some restrictions apply, yada yada. So check out adafruit.com/free for more detail on that. If you are in the New York City area and in certain zip codes, you have the option to do same-day delivery. So check out the Adafruit site for more details on that. If you're interested in that, I think you have to get your order in before noon. Fair enough. We still have an Adafruit Daily newsletter. You have to go to adafruitdaily.com to sign up if you want some daily content, news, tips, that sort of stuff in your inbox. You have to sign up for that. There's different categories, like CircuitPython is probably the newest edition, and of course 3D printing and electronics and more. We also have a product-focused one called New Newsletter. So check out adafruit.com/newsletter to sign up for that one. You have to manually opt into this. We're not just going to automatically set you up with it. All right, again, Discord, chat room's up there. It's very quiet, which is okay, but if you do want to get your comments in there, you know how to do it. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's project. It's on the overhead here. So this is an interesting little 3D printed pendant necklace thing. It has a Sheikah symbol in the center there, and it's 3D printed in 2 different colors using one of the techniques for getting multiple colored prints with a single extruder. So we'll talk about that in a second here, and you can get a good look at it. Awesome. So let's go ahead and take a look at the guide and kind of walk through a little bit of the project. Yay. So if you go to the Adafruit Learning System, you'll see the guide is public here, so you can check it out. Check out the video. It's a nice little quick 3-minute video, kind of like a tasty style video. You can get all the all the overhead shots of kind of whipping this thing up.
Nice little build process.
Yeah. So what I think this project is really good, if you're an educator, if you are trying to get some interesting projects in your curriculum, I think something like this would work really well, as it is a great way for students to learn how to integrate electronics design into kind of jewelry. So designing jewelry with electronics is pretty awesome. So I think if you're a student and you want to do something for your project, or if you're a teacher and you want to get that into your curriculum, it's great for STEM, STEAM, awesomeness. So check that out.
Yeah, one of the cool things about the GEMMA M0 is the larger holes, so you can attach alligator clips if you want to do some prototyping
very
real
friendly,
quick.
yes.
You don't have to solder anything.
Correct.
So super good for that.
Yeah, so check out all the parts list that we used in the project. We did use a NeoPixel Jewel just to give it some more light. There is a dot star on the GEMMA,
which I'm going to take advantage for a future upcoming project.
Yeah, let's see how much we can get out of that. It can get pretty bright, so we'll see that. All the tools and things that we use in the project are listed out there as well. So
one of the popular things that you started using, everybody's been asking about, is those wire strippers.
Yeah,
so when you showed me those, you were able to strip multiple wires at the same time. We got that link down in the...
I actually didn't add it, but
yeah. You didn't add it? Oh, sorry.
I did add the
well,
bounty.
Hopefully that's a reminder to add it.
It is a reminder.
Super useful tool for...
Actually, it is linked. It's not linked here, but it's linked in the other pages. So,
okay.
So, hey, if you're not a fan of Zelda or Sheikah stuff, you know what? That's just fine, because this
just
project...
for inspiration. I'm sure there's a ton of different type of logo projects where you have center... color in the middle that you're able to...
Maybe you want to make this as a gift. Maybe your friend likes sports and you want to add a sports logo or whatever type of, maybe their name. What's great about this project is I designed it so that it's modular, right? So you can literally pop off this thing here. It pops right off, and you can take out the diffuser and design your own. So it's very modular in the sense that you can theme it out to anything you'd like. So if you're looking for a 3D printed mount for the Jewel, or the GEMMA, a case for the GEMMA, definitely check out the project. You don't have to do much to remix it there. You could even draw on it if you'd like. So let's take a look at the 3D printed parts. Here's the parts assembly. It gives you a nice little explosion view. Is the thing right? Yeah, that's right. So this explosion view just kind of gives you a sense of all the pieces that kind of snap fit together. There are some mechanical machine screws involved. We do have a nice little nylon M2.5 screw set, so I made sure to use those screws in this project. So again, if you're looking to remix this, to theme it however you like, maybe you have a cosplay project, maybe it's not even a necklace, but you still need some sort of mounting mechanism, I think this might be useful for you. So let's talk a little bit about printing with two colors on a 3D printer that has a single extruder. Of course, you could dual extrude this, but if you don't have a dual extruder and you still want to print this in two colors, you definitely can. So I have here two different ways to do it with two different pieces of software. The first one, Cura 2, is a free piece of software. It's widely used in a lot of 3D printers these days. There's actually a plugin called Pause at Height. And the idea here is that you tell the printer to pause at a certain layer height. In this example, I have 2 millimeters. And you can swap out your filament when it's pausing, which is a really nice feature on the Ultimaker and probably some other 3D printers too. If you're using Simplify 3D, which is paid software, it's a little bit easier. There is under the Advanced tab, there's something called Layer Modifications. It's a little checkbox. Check that and tell it where you want the print to stop and start. So that's how I was able to achieve this kind of two-tone color thing. So the pendant itself, the little diffuser, the first part is printed in translucent PLA and then black on top to kind of give it that, that logo. And then for the bezel, I started with black. It was about 1 millimeter thick of the kind of base for the ring, and then all those details on top, which is pretty nice. Could have printed in any color though that you want. So experiment with different materials and different colors. Okay. Then, of course, I have a little breakdown of the actual dimensions of where you want to start and stop your print. These beads are actually 3D printed. They don't have to be. I just thought I would 3D print them. It saved me a trip from going to Michael's.
It was a lot more quicker than going to Michael's, yeah.
Yeah, I just printed like 10 of them in one go. Very easy. Another thing that's worth noting is this thing is kind of small, right? 50 millimeter diameter. Yeah, this is going to fit on any 3D printer, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know any printer that has a smaller bed than 50 millimeters?
No, they're usually around 100, so...
Usually the smallest is about 100, so you can print 2 of them in one go.
And again, perfect for classrooms because it doesn't take so long. It's not going to take the entire period to print out a project. If
you got yourself one of those new $100 printers, give this a try. I think it'd be interesting. And let me know. So again, the 3D printed beads, don't have to 3D print them. I did. But I think it would look cool if you're maybe if you like to work with leather, maybe a leather lace would look cool. Yeah, so experiment with different materials. So if you just want the files, all the STLs are available in various repo sites like Thingiverse, Pinshape, and Imagine. If you want to download the actual source file, you can do so. I have a Fusion 360 archive, which lets you download it for a number of different applications, including SolidWorks, Onshape, even giving Google SketchUp. So check that link out. You have many options to download the files. All right, just a quick breakdown of all the parts. There are quite a few of them. If you are dual extruding, I have them broken up into individual files. So if you see Sheikah Stone A and Sheikah Stone B, that is like the pendant with the Sheikah logo. You could dual extrude that if you do have a dual extruder. And if you just want the case for your next GEMMA M0 project, definitely check out the little enclosure here. I have it broken out as its own sub-assembly, so you can download that and 3D print it, remix it for your next GEMMA M0 project. Sweet. Let's move on to the circuit diagram. The interesting about the circuit diagram is I'm using it's called a 2-pin JST cable set. So basically, it's acting as a clasp. So let's take a look at the overhead and kind of take a look at how this little thing works. This is kind of neat. It's keyed, so you can see that this is the clasp area. I have a soldered into the GEMMA M0, and then these are 2 power and ground wires, and it's easy to kind of push this up and then disconnect it. Although I don't want to do that right now. I could probably just turn it off and then do that. So it's really easy to do. If you've ever worn a necklace, you'll know that the clasp is always a little finicky. It's very small. You need nails, that sort of thing.
The little clasp always slips out of my finger, so it's always hard to get the little thing to get out, stay on there.
Sometimes they don't have
and the
fingernails.
hoops are always so tiny.
Exactly. So this is a nice kind of bulky way. So it's easy to kind of take it in, and it's keyed, so you can't put it in the wrong way. So just make sure your polarity is correct when you're soldering it. So cool. Let me turn it back on. All right. That's a quick look at that little clasp mechanism. I haven't done that yet, so I think it'd be kind of neat to do if you're making a wearable. And again, all the wires are actually embedded into the, threaded through the beads here. So that's where the wires are. Pretty cool. Let's go back to the guide thing. Where's the guide? There it is. All right, so all the wired connections are broken out, and you can use this as a visual reference to see where the data and grounds and voltage. Another interesting is that the Jewel NeoPixel PCB has 2 grounds on it. It's really nice. Really, really nice. That's how I was able to get 4 wires out of that instead of sharing the ground pin. Let's talk about the code. This is my favorite part here. Again, CircuitPython. Look at that image. Isn't that a nice image?
Just mind-blowing the way that you're able to get the code on there. No IDE, no compiling, no... Oh no, great. I'm upstairs. This computer doesn't have libraries. I got to run downstairs.
Yeah.
So, oh no, it wasn't this computer, it was the other one.
Yeah. So
my cable's not being recognized.
I can't stress how liberating it is to plug in a microcontroller and see the code.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That is another big one.
It's a big deal.
A lot of the older projects where the code got lost for some reason, or we have a bad habit of not saving sketches too.
Yeah. It's
horrible.
So I run down how to. Really, there's not much of a setup. You plug it in, you open the drive, and there's already code on there.
And
so
it's really great. Express this in just how amazing it is. You plug it in, and it loads like a USB drive.
That's right.
There's a text file in there that you open up, and you start coding. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no craziness. There's no, I gotta like plug it in and do this dance and push the button and wait for the light to flash and.
No.
So if you're looking at the desktop screen here.
I am. So this is awesome. So I have actually 2 CircuitPython devices plugged in. So I guess you can rename them if you want. I'm not sure if you could, but it's this one right here. So I actually have 2 sketches in my CircuitPy directory. I have 2 sketches. This is the first one. This is the one that's running right now on me and on the overhead there. Very, very simple. I guess let's walk through it a little bit. In the beginning of the code, we're importing a couple of different libraries. The first one is called board. That has some special sauce in it so that you can call pins. It's kind of nice. And then, of course, import NeoPixel, which is the NeoPixel library. I have 2 variables here, pin, which is just telling the NeoPixel object what pin I'm attached to. It's attached to D2. You notice there's a board dot in front of it, and that's if without that it doesn't know what to do. So just make sure you have that board then in there. Then I have numpix, which is really a shorthand for saying number of pixels. This is the NeoPixel Jewel. It has 7 NeoPixels. The NeoPixel object is reminiscent to the NeoPixel object that you might know in C, Arduino IDE, but it's a little bit more simplified. It looks very digestible. So it's pixels equals NeoPixel, and then there's 3 arguments. Pixel pin, which is defining where it's attached to, number of pixel, how many pixels are in the array, and then brightness. So you can easily set brightness. Now this is you have 0 through 1, so I have 0.3 here to kind of bring it down to 30%. And then I have the pixels listed out individually, starting from 0 and all the way to 6. And then each pixel has its own color. So I'm just kind of telling the first pixel, which is in the center, to be blue, and then the rest, which is around that pixel, to be red. So that's how we're able to get this nice 2-color action going on. Then at the very end, we do pixels.write, which just tells the pixels to display. So if you're a developer yourself and you know a little bit of Python and you're looking to see how it works, check out the Adafruit GitHub repository so you can learn more about using the CircuitPython NeoPixel library. I have a link down in the description, and I also have it here. So you can check that out. Let's go back here. Talk a little about the rainbow cycle. So if you want a little bit more oomph, a little bit more animation to your pixels, we ported the infamous rainbow cycle to CircuitPython, so you can check it out. Let's go ahead and try it out right now. Let's do a live demo. So right now I have main.py, and if we take a look at the overhead, you can see it's static. It's not doing anything. It's just red and blue. Let's go back to the screen. I have to click the button. Go back to the screen. Go to my desktop. I already have some sketches here. I have the backup. This is what the GEMMA M0 ships with, which is kind of nice. There's a nice little capacitive touch magic going on in there if you want to check that out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's take this main.py. I'm going to call this something like original. I'm going to get rid of the rainbow title in the file name. I'm going to hit enter, and as soon as I hit enter, I wish I could show you the overhead real quick. As soon as I hit enter, I'm going to go back to the overhead, and without even hitting upload or even pressing a button on the board itself, it's already displaying the animation. And to get a better look at the animation, we have this polarizer filter, so you can see a really nice, look how vivid those colors are. In person, it looks just amazing. It's hard to get that vividness in the screen. Pedro's chatting away there. Thank you for that. But yeah, check that out. It looks awesome. Obviously, it's animating. The color wheel function kind of evenly distributes the color wheel through all the 7 NeoPixels and animates it in this kind of circular fashion. So it looks really cool. It kind of reminds me of the beach ball. Thank you. The beach. I don't want to drop it. It's really nice. Yeah.
This only gets you like 80% of what it really looks like in life.
And it's actually really dim too. For cameras, you have to really crank it down the brightness. Otherwise, it just looks white because the camera's like, too many photons, and I'm white. So there you go. Looks really cool though. I like that effect. Looks really nice.
And
that's all I had to do. It's just update the PY file so you can have multiple sketches on your GEMMA and switch them out if you'd like the demo we're showing off here. Oh, very cool. So that's the CircuitPython code. Just a quick introduction to it. I definitely recommend checking out Tony D's desk, as he's been doing a lot of great introduction tutorials and some things to look out for if you're starting to make a lot of development on the GEMMA. There's some weird things in Mac OS, DS store files and hidden files and that sort of stuff. We don't have an onboard SPI flash chip like we do on the M0 Express, so you're gonna have to be a little bit careful on it. But I think if you're doing really, really simple stuff, you should be fine. So check that out. All right, let's jump back to the guide, and that's the code page. Check that out if you want some CircuitPython code, rainbow goodness. All right, we talked about the JST connectors. They actually come in different types. So if you want something with more wires, we have a 3-pin and a 4-pin. So we have 3 different options for you, depending on your project.
And for inspirations of the project, you can look at the product page for that and see a couple of the ones. I think John Park did using those exclusively, just because it makes it a lot more easier to have those 3 or 4 wires already on there.
If you need to kind of take out the brains from a project that's embedded, you can simply do that. It's really nice. Wiring this project is definitely kind of DIY. I mean, depending on how you like to wear a necklace, you kind of have to measure your own wires. I do have mine. This is how long mine is. I'm wearing it a little bit lower than you probably would expect, but if you want a little bit tighter and you have a different neck size, you can use a flexible ruler like we have here to measure the diameter of your neck, which is kind of nice. Here's the wire strippers.
One tip too that we wanted to talk about is using a flexible tape measure. So just one of these little guys here that we show in the photo. We actually use these for more than just wearable projects. When you want to go around like a case or something you're modeling around, it's very helpful to be able to go up and around corners or over walls and through things. Measuring things like for adding slack to wires or for compensating for other things that might get in the way.
That's right.
Definitely recommend using flexible measuring tape.
I used it to measure my 3D printed Apple Watch thing. Yeah.
So nice little tip there for that.
So definitely check those out if you haven't yet. If you're new to wearables. Where's the? I'm just clicking around until I find the right button.
Wire stripping here is that.
This is great.
Awesome wire stripper.
I love this little self-adjusting wire stripper since well, you can eat through like 4 wires at once, so I don't have to sit there and strip every single one.
And the most amazing thing is that you're able to strip right in the middle of a wire.
Oh yes.
Which I was foolishly using a
Hey,
X-Acto knife
use what you got
to do that. This does it a lot more cleaner. You're not going to fray any of the wires or chop off any of the little smaller ones that make up the threads for them.
It's got a set screw, so you can fine-tune, adjust it for very thin cables like these 30-gauge silicone-covered wires.
And so I really like the way that it operates too. It's like a cool
kind of weird
robot
look to it. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, we wire those into the jewel on the back, of course. Like to follow color coord, you know, common colors like red for power and blue for ground, black for ground, green for data, that sort of thing. Threading the beads, again, it's sort of an optional thing. So you can thread the wire through your beads and get your kind of pattern and stuff. I actually did it backwards here. You can see these are supposed to be in the front. So
and you're referencing the book too, right?
I know. I had to like kind of.
So what is this actually modeled after? What's the name of the pendant?
Actually, this is my own variation.
Oh.
Yeah, I couldn't find one that I liked, so I made my own. Well, I think that's an important thing to do. Sometimes you don't have to replicate exactly a prop from a video game. Just make your own iteration of it. Slap a Sheikah logo on there and bammy whammy.
Or like, who said this? It was Galactic
nice chat stuff.
Was saying that it kind of looks like the Doctor Strange eye, which I just watched a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
actually, somebody we shared a project earlier on Thingiverse of that. Yeah, looks great. So yeah, if you want to make your Doctor Strange glowing pendant with CircuitPython, go for it.
Yeah, and then a quick comment from Redstone Ghost saying that wire stripper would totally help out James Bruton for all his robot builds.
James
Bruton. So yeah,
big fan of James. Yeah. Maybe we need to pop them a link. Cool. All right. Well, wiring the GEMMA is the next page. Really, it's about making sure that your wires are in an orientation that kind of work for this project, I guess. So in my, I have the GEMMA resting on the back of my neck there, so I have the wires coming out that way. So if you had them wired, some other way, it might be a little bit difficult.
Yeah. Well, so when you're soldering, you want to angle the wires
position a little bit right,
so it cools down at that position.
Yeah, and I ended up rewiring it too. So.
Oh, and one thing I don't think you put in here was the tip to add strain relief on there.
Yes.
It's actually, because of how big the holes are now for the alligator clips, you're able to wrap the wire around in there, so loop it through there and then solder on there. Just so it has that extra bit of protection if it ever gets pulled too much.
Correct. And I did that actually on this one, but not on this one. So just if you're making it and you're not using any strain relief, just be careful, don't yank on it, of course. So let's talk about the battery. Right, this is the danger zone. Batteries are dangerous. They can explode. These batteries do have circuit protection on them, polarity protection, I believe, but you still want to be careful with it. This is such a small project, really cramming everything in the tightest space. The cable that comes with it is a good length, but unfortunately it's too big for my enclosure, so I ended up cutting the wire and stripping out. I actually desoldered it first and then trimmed it down. As I didn't want to splice 2 wires together, I figured I'd just get straight to the little PCB.
Definitely the easiest way to do that,
yeah. So, just take your precautions. If you haven't done it before, be very, very careful. You don't want the tip of the soldering iron touching the 2 pads or anything like that. So just be very, very careful.
There's enough room, but obviously if you got to be very dexterous with this. Another thing too is you did remove some of the Kapton tape to get to it.
Yeah, I used a X-Acto knife to just cut that. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've done this before, and
I've done
you're
it
able
too.
to peel it and just
It was so tight though. I didn't have any fingernails at the time, and I couldn't peel it up. Probably could have used the X-Acto knife to peel off the Kapton tape. But hey, speaking of Kapton tape, we have some here in-house. So there's a roll of Kapton tape there. If you don't have any, definitely check it out. It's some good stuff.
Definitely handy, especially when you want to butt 2 components like right on top of each other and you don't want them to short out or anything. You can definitely just Kapton one of the sides so that they're staying nice and insulated away from each other.
Really good at heat, resisting heat. So
yeah, we were doing a lot of exclusive ABS printing. We're going through rolls of this, but
cool. So check out the
nice little size for small little projects.
Yeah,
we picked one up. Sorry,
I'm still learning my buttons. So yeah, Kapton tape, really good. put a nice little fresh strip on there, and I made sure that they were all insulated. All right, connecting battery, pretty straightforward. It actually folds under the GEMMA so that they're kind of nice little sandwiched together, and I made sure that none of the pads are touching any exposed wires, so I'm just going to make sure of that.
One of the most important things to make sure that your, what's it called, when you flip it over like that, your polarities are going the other way, so you just want to make
Yeah, so you can see it's actually crossed. See how it's crossed
yes.
like that? Yeah, I had to make sure to do that, so you get a good look at the images too when you click on them. All right, let's talk about the assembly. You do need some machine screws. You can use the M2.5 or M3 screws. There's a little bit of slack there, so you can fasten those in. Obviously, you want to make sure you don't puncture the battery when you're doing it. That's why these little slits here, so that the battery can fit in there.
Did you put that, how long they are, the M2.5 or M3, but like 5 millimeters long?
Yeah, they are 4 millimeters long. They're the shortest screws that come with our set of nylon screws, which they're not here listed. They're probably listed in the homepage, but yeah. We have a nylon screw set, so if you don't have that, definitely check them out. I'm going to try to use these as much as I can because we do carry these, and a lot of times we use different types of screws, and it's kind of hard to source them.
I always have to use different sizes.
Yeah, so this is a great one because it comes with a nice assortment of sizes, lengths really. Yeah. They're all the same size. They're all M2.5, but they work really well with all of the Adafruit boards. And here's a breakdown of all the specific sizes. So use the smallest one, and yeah. So I got those in there. This is kind of a neat little thing. I have this little switch extension, I guess you can call it. It actually snaps onto the onboard switch, which is an on and off switch on the GEMMA, and that way you can actually access it without having to kind of take the cover off, which is really nice. I'll probably do this for the Circuit Playground.
Yeah, much requested little...
Yeah, shout out to Scruffy on the Discord chat who suggested that.
Yes.
And I went ahead and gave it a shot, and it worked out really well. So pretty cool.
Since we use this light switch on a lot of boards, you can grab the file and modify this to use with any of the other boards.
That's right. I think we want to, I'll probably make a standalone one for the Circuit Playground Express, as it also has an onboard slide switch. Pretty cool. Hey, if you want a mount for your NeoPixel Jewel, I have this little mounting bracket, mounting plate, whatever you want to call it. It's really nice. I like that slit. I actually got that idea from Pedro as my first prototype. Didn't have a slit, so I had to thread the wires, solder the thing, and then, oh, it comes out, I used the wrong wire, so I had to desolder it. And it's like, why isn't there a slit? So I added a slit. So it's a really, really smart thing to do, so you can take it in and out. And
so the sizing for the slit, if you want to add this to any other model, it's about 0.2 millimeters, I think, is what I used on mine.
I used the 1 millimeter.
1 millimeter, okay. Yeah. So that's a good reference, actually, right there. For a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, 0.1, I was using a 0.6 millimeter nozzle. So
just one,
0.2
just one, like
is the distance that I use, where it's still, it's not floppy, it's pretty strong on there, so it's not just gonna slip right out of there. Yeah. So that's a nice reference for what the distance for the slit should be.
Exactly. There's 2 mounting holes on the Jewel. You just line them up with the mounting holes on the plate.
Super handy.
Very, very nice. And I just inserted the screw with the machine, the nylon screws, and I have some nuts in the back there to secure it in place so it doesn't pop out. It's really nice and secure. To get the bezel on top of the Jewel and the mounting plate, they kind of use 2 more screws, a total of 4 screws in this project. But hey, once you have that, I also have a cover that hides the screws, so there's no visible screws in this project. That's kind of nice. I think it's kind of slick. Just a little cap that kind of fits over. And there's these little notches or cutaways, whatever you want to call them. They allow the wires to kind of slip through. And you could also add some hot glue there or something if you want some strain relief. Maybe that'd be a smart idea. And then installing the diffuser is really easy. You just pop it into the little bezel there. It's friction fit. You saw me take it off, or at least the ring. I just popped it right off. So you can do that. That's the last step, I believe. And if you want to do that, you can. Let's talk about wearing it. You want to test it out, test out the lace, make sure it's not lopsided. The wiring is a little bit different because we're having that JST connector, so that adds a little bit more length to it.
Definitely got to compensate for that.
So you really have to kind of wear it and figure out your best length for the neck. I dropped it. Another word about the battery itself. Now, the GEMMA M0 doesn't have an onboard recharging circuit, so you do have to take the battery out and recharge it when the battery dies. I haven't run the numbers yet, but this thing has been running for several hours now. I think it's still running, right? This one?
Yep.
Yeah, so I just have it turned on for quite a bit. Probably wear it throughout the whole day. It's not really doing much, and the brightness is pretty low, so think you'll get the more time out of it, out of your battery. It is a 150 milliamp LiPo battery. So if you want to recharge your battery when the battery dies, you can do so with one of these little guys. This plugs into any USB port, 5-volt USB port. And it already has the charging rate set at 100 milliamps, I believe. So it's nice for the 150 milliamp. And that's kind of the whole guide. I just walked through the whole thing. So if you guys have any questions about the build or any suggestions or anything like that, let me know. If you haven't checked out the video, please check out the video. Give it a view and a like and a comment or whatever. I had a lot of fun filming it. And let's go to Discord chat.
So
hello.
Comments. Just comments on if we're working on any Halloween projects.
Oh, every project is a Halloween project here at Adafruit.
Considered one, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a Halloween project.
I think we want. So one thing that we want to talk about is the gap fill that we're able to get out of Simplify 3D and Cura for the little details on here.
Actually, this one.
So the new version of Simplify 3D, version 4.0, has the ability to have single line extrusion for getting, filling in the most smallest details for any objects. You can kind of see the differences for these. Let me see if I can grab the right one here. Yes. Is it this one?
Yeah, so notice all those
hard
gaps.
To tell on that one, yeah.
Yeah, even with, even with Simplify 3D.
Now it's able to fill in a lot of the gaps, but not completely.
Yeah.
To,
I think the main takeaway here is like play with your extrusion width.
Yes, the diameter of your filament or your nozzle diameter also. As I was saying last week, it eliminates a lot of the need to do that, but with such tiny little detail like this, you might still have to play with that to get the most filled in gaps. Surprisingly, Cura won out on this one. Actually, if I compare it to these two right here, you can see that it definitely fills in every single little gap for all these.
So the top one was printed on the FlashForge Creator Pro. The one underneath that is printed on the Ultimaker 3 using Cura 2.6. And it did a really good job. Yeah. Filled it in really nice. Of course, Cura has its own fill in the gaps feature. So this is a 3D printing slice off here. And so far, Ultimaker 3 is the winner. Oh yeah, it's a very pricey printer, so I expect it to be a little bit better in terms of the quality, and it really shines here. But the gap here kind of adds a little bit of the detail to it.
Yeah, good. But if you didn't want that,
if you didn't want that, you
definitely have to go with that. I've had pretty good experience with 4.0 so far, especially with like standoffs where I have to make them a certain size to fit within an enclosure. The single extrusion gap fill has done a really good job for that. Whereas before, I would have to make the nozzle diameter really funky.
It's a good example of the fill. One is the regular Simplify 3D. You can see there's a little bit of gap there, and then these are on the same printer, and then it filled it in there a little bit better using the new version of Simplify 3D. That's Simplify 3D version 4. Is it a free upgrade for Simplify 3D?
Yes, it should be.
Yeah, so definitely upgrade it. I'm glad I did, as I got a little bit better print results. Very cool. A lot of interesting features here. So hey, that's pretty much the project, and what I want to do next is talk about gems, designing gems particularly. So before I came out, let me turn off the autofocus. So before I decided to make this into a Sheikah Zelda themed project, I had it as a very generic kind of gem. So what I want to do is show you guys how to design a gem in like 5 minutes in Fusion 360. Are we cool with that?
Yep.
We got time? We got time.
I've already tweeted that, so continue, please.
No, I have to do it. All right, so let's jump into Fusion 360. I got nothing here yet, but I'll show you what we're going to make. So if you're a cosplayer, or if you like jewelry and stuff, you might want to know how to design a gem. So if we take a look at the gem, kind of looks like a diamond, right? Or it's got these facets, right? These triangular facets, and really what we're doing is we're going to learn how to cut these out and make this shape here. So let's do that. jump about right here. So how do we start off? Well, we start off with a polygon shape. Y'all can see my screen, right? We start off with a polygon shape. Can you see my screen? Yeah, you can see my screen. This has 16 sides, so depending on how many facets you want to have something, you know, it's divisible by 2, I guess. So I have 16 sides here. And then the next step is to extrude that out. When you're extruding something out in Fusion, you have the option to give it a taper angle. So in this case, I gave it a taper angle of negative 40 degrees, and you have the little handle here. Normally it's set to 0, and it's just a regular extrusion. But once you give it that angle, you can get some nice kind of drafted angles, which looks really nice. And that's the start of the gem. Now the next thing to do is, if you kind of take a close look at you know, diamond cut things, you'll notice that there's usually triangles that kind of cut in between two surfaces. So in this case, look at these two surfaces. The ideal situation is to cut a triangle in between these two things. Now to do that it's kind of, I didn't know how to do it, so there's actually a tool to make it really easy. If you go under the construction menu, there's something called a plane through 3 points. So this allows you to create a construction plane by just picking 3 different points. So this will work really well here. So the idea is you click on that, and then you pick 3 points. This one, and that one. As soon as I do that, this guy shows up, we get a nice little plane, and we can use this now to kind of cut where we want, or really to create a sketch on top. So we create a sketch on top. Let me delete that since I already did it in the timeline. And basically made this sketch here. So with that plane, I had it selected, clicked on the sketch button, and then I drew a line. Using the line tool, I just drew a connection between these 3 dots, and I made this. Now you notice that when I roll over, I actually can't select the profile, right? Really easy way to do that, let me turn it on, is to click and hold, and then you get this depth thing. So as you see, as I'm scrubbing through the different options, you want to click on the profile, and then you can hit the hotkey E to extrude, and then cut it out by growing that right there. So that's how you can make a cut in between those 3 points.
You can't have it go to a surface, right?
You could.
Or to an object?
Absolutely could, yeah. So that's really cool. I got my thing here. I got one of the triangles. Now instead of doing it, you know, 16 different times or 8 times, I just run a pattern. So this is a circular pattern. You can click on a face, and then click on the axis, which is this guy in the center here. It's the Z-axis. And then give it a quantity number. So I gave it a quantity of 8, because that's how many we need. Because if you take 16 and you divide it by 2, it's 8. And that's how you create our first layer of our little gem. The next thing we do is we grab this guy here, we make a sketch on top of it, and then we just extrude it out, and then we give it another tapered angle. And that's basically all you need to do to create a really simple, intricate looking, multifaceted gem. So how do these look like when you 3D print them? That's really the thing.
Did you do a pattern around the whole thing?
Yes, okay, right here. Cool. It's a pattern. Nice little pattern. This is the pattern type is set to faces. You could also do features, but I used the faces one because it just seemed to work fine. More than one way to skin a cat. So let's go ahead and take a look at these actual gems. These are cool, man. Check out these gems, dude. So one of the things I want to talk about is the more facets you add, the less your printer can resolve them. So I actually had a 32 faceted one, and it didn't look good. So I reduced it down to 16 faces, and then I got this cool thing. So what's interesting about this is using the triangular infill patterns, which most slicers can do these days, makes a really interesting details. It kind of looks really nice. So here's another one. This is one that's actually hollowed out. This is really cool. There's no infill, and there's no top layer either. So it's got this interesting look to it. It's very shiny as well because it's just one perimeter thick. This is one perimeter thick. It's pretty nice.
It's pretty strong too for one
I also thought I would do some dual extrusion. So this is on the outer side is the translucent PLA, and then on the inner side is black PLA, so you can get these really intricate details here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change the code, or actually I already have one made, so check this out. This is the first prototype, and it's using a GEMMA M0 as well. But in the front here is actually the gem. Can you adjust it real quick? So take a look at that. So this is with the triangular infill. You get this really nice details in there. Oh man, can you hold
Yes.
on? I gotta play with it. The focus here just doesn't.
Definitely gotta focus on this. Looks really cool. With
there you go. Closer. There you go. Look at that. So you get some really cool, interesting looking effects here with the right type of infill. This is 20% infill, which I guess worked really well with the diameter. I think it's 30 millimeter diameter. That works really well. So that's pretty awesome. Again, you know, play around with different things. I think if you're a cosplayer or you're making jewelry and stuff, nice tips to know. You can get a good look at the infill there, and that's what it looks like without. Wow, that polarizer is really nice. Looks like the Star of David or something there. Pretty cool. I don't know. Yeah, nice effect. Very, very good. So, if you're looking to make some cool cosplay stuff with some 3D printed jewels, now you know how. I want to give a gift shout out to a YouTube channel called Kara 3D, who actually put this tutorial, where I actually got the idea to use the 3-point plane tool. So you can check them out. I'll have a link for them. It's basically the tutorial I just gave you, but with a little bit of extra sauce to it. So yeah, thank you, Kara 3D. Give them a subscribe and a like. Check them out if you're into Fusion 360 and these type of tutorials. They're doing some really good content, so shout out to them.
Imagination to form, saying, make it into a heartbeat so we can beat with your heart.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah. It's kind of pulsating really nicely. This is actually the rainbow Circuit Python. This is running Circuit Python, obviously, but the code is just modified so it's only cycling through red. So you get this nice pulsating color here.
And Redstone Ghost is asking, what other cool features that a lot of people don't know about? There are so much.
Yeah, I never knew it until I had to figure out how to.
We're seriously using like 1% of it just because it can handle so much. And if you guys want to look at some of the tips, definitely subscribe to the Fusion 360 YouTube channel.
Yes.
Every month there is like a ton of new updates and tweaks, fixes for.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming in the pipeline.
Coming out, yeah. There's a lot of bug fixes.
Interesting things.
Recently just added like I was saying, we were using like 1%. They use it for like simulation, for cam, for sheet metal now.
Yeah, sheet metals.
The new Eagle integration looks.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll let you guys know once we get down to that. So that was my little layer tutorial. I also have another tutorial on how I created all of these interesting curvy details. So that's actually a standalone 30-minute video. I know you guys like those. A little bit longer format for the tutorials. So that will be published at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time today. We're going to come out with like 20 videos today. We're going to ask an engineer later. We're going to show and tell later. Yeah, Wednesdays is like... Well, that's the project. If you guys want to pick up the GEMMA M0, you need to sign up for it and get notified when it is back in stock. We are working really hard to get these things made for you. And it's a really good price too, at $10. It's nice. So check it out. If you want to pick up anything else, tools, filaments, we have that sort of stuff. You can use GEMMA Jewel. It'll work with everything except the AdaBox subscription and gift certificates. So yeah, check it out. And another note, if you want to join us in the Discord chat room for project help or 3D printing type stuff, or you want to share your projects,
link is
right up there.
Discord.gg/Adafruit.
Speaking of sharing your projects with us, we got a pretty interesting promotion going on. Check this out. It's called Extra Credit, Adafruit. Hashtag Adafruit Extra Credit. So check out the website, the Adafruit site, and the Adafruit blog. You can get a link to it by going to those. You can see, this one. Yeah, so if you want to get your projects shared on the Adafruit channels, on the various channels, you can submit your projects. You have a little submission form, or you can just tag your stuff. We'll be looking for them. And I think we're going to do like a compilation of all the projects and stuff. We'll find out more details as this kind of grows. But this is brand new, it's fresh. I think we started it last week. So if you want to get your Circuit Playground project, this is specific to Circuit Playground. So I think this is more towards like students, maybe educators too. It's a great way to kind of get people involved and inspire them to kind of get working on some neat projects using Circuit Playground. So check that out, adafruit.com/extra credit. GEMMA Jewel.
All right, let's jump into this week's prototyping, or what are we working on segment.
Yeah, I wasn't planning to do it, but yeah, if you got some. That was me. I have nothing new.
So if you guys have been following on some of the behind the scenes clips that we've been posting, and if you remember last week's episode too, right in the middle we were printing the Guardian, oh my god, I forgot the name of it.
This is called the Thunder Helm.
Thunder Helm, yeah. So it's this really
Zelda
cool,
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so it's a really cool like helmet that goes along with your Guardian, like
Guardian everything.
Yeah, there's like armor, there's like so many swords and axes. The helmet or the helm looks so cool to me when you finally acquired it.
Yes, I had to acquire it.
It was
I could not buy it.
Yeah, I know. It was a pretty
it.
lengthy progress in getting it, which it's kind of weird, you know, to do a lot of these projects. You have to.
Can we both wear it?
Yeah, you have to do a lot of work to actually get a lot of these weapons because there's no like really good references for these online.
Oh no, yeah.
Even the little book that we got that like tells you where to get everything, it has like these teeny tiny little pixelated images. So nice simple little project. No electronics in this one. It's just going to be a huge print. I forgot who was asking that. They wanted to test out their CR10 to make a really huge print. This could be a really nice one for you. This is almost, you know, just barely fits on the Type A machines. It's like 290 tall.
Yes.
You have to print this diagonally on a 300 by 300 bed though to even get it to fit.
Yeah.
Did some modifications over the weekend on the curvature to make sure that it fits your head all nice and started doing all of the details around it. Got the nice little gems that are going around all of the face areas and added a lot more detail to the little top point where I am going to have to do a little bit of painting on this to get all of the
yeah, it's a very colorful helm mitt.
And to make it easier to actually paint everything on there instead of like having to mask everything off, I did add a lot of indents for all of the detail material. So the brush, when I'm painting on this, I can just sort of butt up against the wall without you know, painting all the wrong areas. So it should be out next week. Finally got I had to get like a 5 pound of gold filament for this. It's definitely one of those projects where if you have a full spool of, you know, regular 1 kilogram and it fails, you can't use that spool anymore because it's going to require more than that. So it's definitely one of those spool guzzling projects.
Even though it's thin and it's
pretty
thin, optimized.
Yeah, it's super optimized. It's like 2 millimeters thick. It's not too heavy. I did a lot of optimization in terms of hollowing out a lot of the areas around where all the gems are, punching out a lot of these details just so that it's using less material. But even with all that optimization, it's still a lot of filament that you have to use to print one of these. But it should look pretty cool, especially with that color. You can kind of see it in the background there.
Yeah, there it
having a lot of fails though, mostly because of the winding of the spool. Having some strikes like when some of the parts lift. So we'll cover all of the tips and tricks for getting huge prints to properly print and how to orient like some of the spools and things like that. So
did you design it in Fusion?
Yes, everything is designed in Fusion. Some of the first helmets that I've made, like the Daft Punk, was like designed in 123D, and that was a nightmare when I had to go back and adjust some settings, like the curvatures of your head. You would have to go back, like if you didn't save multiple copies of things, you were just screwed. For this, all of the curvatures are able to be updated, completely parametric.
It's all sketch driven.
It's all sketch driven, yeah. So you can go in there and modify this if you wanted like a smaller one. All you got to do is adjust the paths and the rails that are creating the little slopes and the curvature of the face.
What's also cool is we used Erin St. Blaine's 3D scan of her head as a reference to make sure that it actually fits a real head. And we did that with the Wasp helmet, which I'm looking at over there. That way we know exactly that it fits a human head. So getting the proportions correct is a little bit of a trial and error. Try it out. This one was probably a little bit too big, but we refined it and it looks really good. Well, when I say we, it's Paige was doing all the work.
So super cool. Really like that.
So great job on the model.
Working on the helmet.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. It's goes on your head.
And of course, I'm not showing all the other details here too. If you're familiar with the Thunder Helm, You have the side part here. You have all of the
Would you like me to show the images?
Oh, yeah.
I have some images.
The way that it attaches is with a headband, and there's like all these details behind there. If you check out, I think I'll post later today yesterday's behind the scenes of that huge circle thing that goes behind it. I don't know what it is, but it
I don't know what it is.
Thankfully was able to fit on that.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this is from the Guaro village. If you want to acquire it, you do have to tame the divine beast, the camel one.
Yes.
Which is a little bit hard, but hey, look at all the detail in there. There's the back the paper's talking about, the lightning bolts.
So a lot of work figuring out how to actually attach all these. This is all, again, my favorite size screws, the M2 12mm long screws are attaching everything, yeah.
Tiny little one.
Surprised it doesn't flop over.
Yeah.
I honestly was going to omit this from the design.
Yeah.
But
because a lot of the time these cosplay things are just like physically aren't possible in the real beat
Especially
space.
with this, because if you take a look at some of the closer shots, it looks like it's just floating, but I was able to attach it to the headband, little block pieces, and it works pretty good. Again,
now, can you see out of it is one thing.
So if you take a look at the way that he's wearing it, it looks like it's right up, it goes right above your nose, so you can, when I was testing it out, you have it right above your eyelids, you are able to see and still have the look of it being, that it's covering your eyes. So you are going to be able to see out of this, not through it. I did try making a slit through it to make sure that, just to modify design so you could like sort of put it down a little bit lower, but it just didn't look right. It doesn't mess with the like the structure of the helmet, but it just doesn't look right having that big old slit on there. But you are able to look, if you just put it on right, you are able to still see, pretty decently without it looking like your eyes are, underneath. If you just look down a little bit, and it works pretty good.
I'm actually trying to get it in the game.
What is it?
Where you can kind of see Link wearing it. You can probably see through it just barely. Believe me, I went through my trials to get this thing.
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
Oh, there he is. You can kind of see it. Getting the, although I really appreciate this button here. This actually takes screenshots in the game, so that's how I was able to get it. I just get to the port where I want, and then I screenshot it. You gotta be very careful though, because we get too close, it starts to ghost away. So.
And what's so cool too is that I will now have an almost complete Guardian little theme thing with the sword and the shield.
He's actually thinking about doing the
armor.
The whole armor
looks pretty freaking cool.
Pretty epic. A lot of
with all those
in there.
Yeah, I mean I might do like sequins though for all the blue gems.
So there you go. There's the Thunder Helm. Quick look at what Pedro's working on. Looking forward to seeing Lamar get down on some Zelda. It's always fun.
There you go.
All right, that's what Pedro's prototyping. I got to get started on the next project. Yeah.
So that should be out next week.
Okay. Well, I guess shop talk. I just got a couple things to talk about. Probably the only thing really is the desktop fume extractor. I used that this week on this week's project. It worked really well. I think it might be useful to make some sort of 3D printed mount thingy for a, what is it, carbon filter? Something like that?
Yes, we do have some we can cut up. So
yeah, it's meant for a desktop or something, a computer.
Yeah, so we definitely have to like just design a little clip that can hold the, well, it actually goes in the front. So.
Yeah, it worked really well. I love it a lot. It actually has a good distance. I was able to get about that much distance away from the tip of the soldering iron.
Nice.
So it's got some good suction to it. It sucks really well. That's a good pun. Got a nice slide switch in there. You do need.
You're gonna need a.
You need one of these guys. Yeah, 12 volts, I believe, is the power supply. Check out the data sheet or the product page. It'll tell you exactly what it can take and things like that. So I like it because I don't have to worry about the battery dying. Because I do love the little one that Phil B designed. That was really nice. You have to be a little bit closer, but this one is definitely, it's a replacement. We do have a bigger one, which I do not like to use as it's takes up my entire desk
Just move
space.
stuff out of the way, yeah.
But I like this one. It's very compact, and yet still powerful enough to really get some jobs done without being in your shop.
Yeah.
You can actually make it out. I did get it in the shop. So yeah, that is the desktop fan. If you want to pick that up, you can. I think we have it in stock now. Let me type it in here. There it is. Miniature desktop fan, 12 volts. Let's go to the page. There you go. It's only $8.
Sorry, guys.
What happened?
Out of stock.
Oh.
These things go fast.
Thank you for buying them. I mean, I found it very useful. So maybe we'll get some more. That's what it looks like. 12 volts. Very nice. All right. What else have we got?
Jump into this week's Community Makes. This week's Time-Lapse Tuesday was this really cool train turntable.
Yep.
So Gavin has a bunch of the wooden train tracks and a ton of trains, and combining those all together is pretty fun when you build a nice little set using a little central turning table for each one to go through. So we printed this on the BCN Sigma. I could have used the 0.6mm nozzle, but I used the 0.4 because I was scared of the tolerance, but it's perfect. Like, it's actually a little loose, so you could actually
probably
use a bigger nozzle.
Be beneficial to use a big nozzle.
Yeah. So it's printed in 2 pieces, and then the top part of here for the rotating thing, and just have a little handle to rotate all this around, and it's very nice. I forgot the designer's name, if you could bring that up.
It's a Brimstone
3620 or 326.
Yeah.
If you go on his name, I forgot his name. Super awesome design on this. So people have designed some...
Daniel Sims. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, so some people have designed like similar style little turntables, but he's the first one who's made a completely circular one that with the nice little turning thing here. Some people were saying in the comments that'd be cool to add a motor on there, and that'd be cool. You just have to like elevate it or something, just because there's going to be tracks all over the place.
Correct. Yeah.
When you're building this for your 3-year-old, something like wires and electronics are going to probably get yanked off, especially when their favorite thing to do is
my purple people eater.
Yeah, especially when their favorite thing to do is to actually crash the train. So a nice little alternative to just have it, have them turn the turntable by hand. But nice little design. Prints in about 4 hours if you're using 0.4mm nozzle. You'd probably knock that down to like an hour if you're using like a 0.4mm layer height with a 0.6
nice color
nozzle.
choice. I love how everything's nice and themed. Purple and grays and blacks.
Oh, I didn't even notice
nice.
that. So super cool little thing. If you have kids or train sets that you want to update, have a nice little turntable after that. Nice little file there. It is linked in the Time-Lapse Tuesday video, and we'll have it in the description as well if you guys want to download your own.
Yeah,
it's a cool little model there.
That's fun.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to share your projects with us and the community, you can do so tonight, because it's Ask an Engineer tonight. 7:30 is Show and Tell. That's where you get to share your projects. It doesn't have to be a finished project. It could be a retro tag, anything like that. It's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so check your time zones. And Ask Engineer is on tonight at 8 p.m., shortly after the Show and Tell with Lamar and Phil. They will be talking about new products, Arduino news, open source news, hardware, open hardware.
And of course, all the
Lots
tasty
of
behind the scenes, top secret stuff too.
Yeah, and hopefully some new products. It's always a great show. So be sure to check them out. From the Desk of Lady Ada has been happening a lot lately.
A lot of nice, awesome chiptune.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out.
We got the new microscope.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun.
So those are around 10 to midnight is the
Get
show time for those.
FPV mode of seeing Lamar route some new designs. So really cool. You never know what you're gonna get. It's always a fun. It's kind of like a box of chocolate. It's like assortment. It's like, oh, what's this one? Tasty. Sweet. Well, we have Tony D on Fridays, and John Park is on. You said Fridays?
He's Friday at noon PT time.
Yeah.
So tune up for that. He'll do some live streams.
Yeah. His latest one was on a retro Pi build using a classic retro NES cartridge and putting the Joy Bonnet and the Pi Zero in it to make this really cool handheld cartridge Nintendo awesomeness. So check out Jump Park. We also have some new stuff coming from Aaron St. Blaine, who is the Tinker Pixie, and Hot Flash. So be on the lookout for those.
A lot of really cool mermaid LEDs, so using LEDs underwater.
Yeah,
very interesting.
It's going to be really cool. So she's got a multi-part series on her adventures in Nahiko.
Yes.
Can't wait for that. Is it this one?
Q&A real quick, just a couple questions. DAO20 was asking if enclosing your printer would prevent it from lifting off the bed.
Absolutely. It helps a little bit.
It can definitely help a lot. But as you see here, none of these are enclosed. We're printing huge
The air vent's over there, so that's another thing. The air vent shouldn't be right underneath your air vent.
The thing that made the biggest difference was having a brim. So
having a brim, yeah.
So I use like 6
as well.
That's like preventing striking.
Okay.
But having like a huge brim around it is definitely going to make sure that it's grounded down and adheres to the bed very well.
Yeah. Depending on your build surface, you might want to apply some alcohol, clean it, make sure it's void of any grease. Or
yes, that is the
I use a microfiber cloth actually. Don't use a paper towel. Microfiber cloth.
Yeah, so that's the biggest tip on that.
Even on blue tape, I put a little bit of alcohol, and it gets it stick very nice.
It will stick so well that it's going to rip the tape off with your part when you take it off. So just be careful with that. Just alcohol on blue tape. I see in the comments here some people are saying that the blue tape is kind of old school. Works very well. Yeah. I have a heated bed on these, and I don't even need to turn it on because the tape holds on that good.
You want real old school, go with the Kapton tape. And
you can go with Kapton
tape. Replicator one, a wooden printer up there somewhere.
Yep, just blue tape. And if you're interested too, we have
Print and Z skins. These are really nice. I use it a lot.
Yes. One of the things I was going to say though is the first thing that people think of when you say blue tape, you usually think of I don't want to take this. You usually think of this dinky little, short tape. Yeah.
Just imagine that's blue.
Oh. No, we're using these huge 6-inch sheets of tape, or rolls of tape. There we go. So if you want to check out the blue tape, use a big one. Don't use the little one because those definitely will
you get some seams.
You will get seams all over the place.
In your bottom layer.
And this is why I use blue tape because it's cheap, does a really good job of holding out, and because when you use a big one, it's going to stick a lot more better than a bunch of little pieces of tape to cover the whole bed. So that's one of the things people overlook when thinking about blue tape. We do have this in the shop as well. And I think it's actually the lowest price too.
Yeah,
not a lot of people sell this size for tape because they've all moved on to like what is it, the PEI and all that other stuff. So you can pick that up. Oh, looks like everybody bought it out. Sorry.
It's $50 because it's a lot of tape. 60 yards.
I think
I do have Print and Z skins. I do like those. That's why we carry them in the shop. So check out Print and Z skins. You can also go to printandz.com. You can use Build Tack as well. That's another option, but I like the Print and Z stuff. You can get them in different sizes. You can cut them and all sorts of things. It has an adhesive backing, so it goes on top of your existing build platform. There's different types. There's also a printed plate. Those things are always nice too. So check those out if you are looking for some new bed adhesion things. Print and Z skins are nice. Yeah,
it does have a little bit of a lifetime, but it does adhere very well to objects. Of course, GEMMA Jewel if you want to pick up any of the things that are in stock.
Yeah, so many things out of stock.
Redstone goes, yes, that tape is massive. Yeah, again, the little ones we use for little parts, but for big things.
Cool. Well, that is really the whole show. You guys have
for 300 by 300. No, so you can use two pieces for that. That's what I use on Type A.
Or if you want, you can use the heated bed on the new Type A's. It's got a glass heated bed. Over there, that one. Yeah. If you want. But it takes a little bit to heat up a 300 by 300 bed. So Pedro likes the blue tape.
The Type A heats up pretty quick, but even when I need to get something done, like now, I don't want to wait.
All of the parts here were printed a little bit on. I actually printed on the acrylic bed. I didn't use any blue tape, and a Also on the Ultimaker 3, I just have a heated glass bed. You know, wipe it down with some alcohol, use the microfiber cloth, and it works really well. Heat the bed up to about 65 C.
Oh, that's another thing too. I don't like waiting around for having it cool down.
I mean, to me,
it's like
it's like I'm cooking tater tots. I gotta preheat the oven.
Yeah.
At 400 degrees. Same thing applies for my Ultimaker 3. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys checking us out. If you did enjoy the show, please give it a like in the YouTubes. And if you want to join us in the chat, again, the chat link is up there at discord.gg/Adafruit. And we'll be here next week, I think. Or are we off?
We'll be on.
We'll be off one of the weeks. We have some vacation stuff planned, so.
We'll next week. No, well, we're going to Disney next week, but we're going on a Thursday. Well, the show and everything will be done.
We'll still do the show.
Yeah. So if anybody is in the Orlando area, we'll be.
Yeah, if you want to meet up in Orlando,
3 days or something.
We'll be in Disney.
Yeah.
Next week.
But yeah, there is a show tomorrow or next week.
And be on the lookout for the Lab Lair if you like CAD tutorials. That's some fun. Have fun doing that.
Yep.
We'll be on the show and tell
later tonight. 7:30. So make sure to tune in.
Yeah.
Leave a comment in the video, and we'll send you a link for that. And thanks y'all for joining every week.
I think my battery died. Did it die? Probably did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so that's about an hour.
Well, I mean, I've had it for many hours. I haven't recharged it once.
Oh, wow.
So it lasted the whole shoot and through the whole documenting of the guide. So it lasted quite a while. This one's still running here too, if you want. There you go. It's still running.
Yeah, cool.
I gotta go recharge my battery. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. And remember to keep on making. Be safe. And be excellent to each other, as we like to say.
See you next week, guys.